Can you hear me?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. We are going live to you earlier than our scheduled broadcast time of 7:15. It is 6:34. The game finished literally about 5-10 minutes ago. And frankly, I messaged Amanda and James beforehand and said, people, I can't be asked. Let's just if we can keep this to a 30-minute pod, then that's great. I mean, we probably will go over, but honestly, the way I feel at the moment, I genuinely can't be asked. And the reason I can't be asked, I'll introduce Amanda and James in a second, but I'm going to monologue just for a second or two. And then Amanda, I'm going to let you get some vibes monologuing. Then James, you can do your vibes monologuing. And then we'll start in the chronology, which is like the team lineups and that sort of stuff. But the reason why I can't be asked is, frankly, this is a story that I've seen before. And I said to the guys in our WhatsApp group that we have between the three of us, it's the same old stuff, the same old Arsenal, funnily enough. When we go up to Night Follows Day, when we go up to Anfield, I actually think this was the best opportunity for us to beat what I've seen as a decent Liverpool team. They're going to be challenging for the title, but this is a Liverpool team that they're fallible. They are beatable. And I think there was an opportunity there, particularly in the second half, that we missed. And we're going to get into it. But Amanda, initial vibes check. How you doing? You all right?
I'm disappointed. I really am. You know, I'm normally Mrs. Positive, but I'm really disappointed. I thought it was totally there for the taking. I disagree with so many people that one I was sitting with downstairs and many people on social media. We should have gone for it in the first half. I don't understand this sitting back and going for it in the second half. We controlled it first half, very disappointing second half. They were so there for the beating. They really, really are not that good. And if the next person that tells me a million times that their defence is no good, I don't want to hear it anymore. I was at a party last night. Gooners were saying to me, oh, their defence is poor. Cole's been saying it all week. I said, well, they won't be poor on Sunday, will they? Never are. But disappointed. However, to lose a game to an absolutely phenomenal free kick like that, you just got to hold your hands up, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think we'll get into it. But basically, my biggest take from this game is going to be fine margins. This was a 0-0 game that there is just some sort of wonder strike from 30 yards that's happened. And when you're beaten from that kind of distance, you're kind of like, you know what? Whatever. That's the difference between this being us getting a 0-0 and them getting out of it. That we will need to get into what we didn't do, though, today. Just to come back to you. Actually, no, James, give me your thoughts. Just an initial vibes check. How you feeling?
Yeah, disappointed, mate. Hard not to be disappointed whenever we lose a game. Doesn't matter if it's against Liverpool or if it's in the League Cup against, kind of anyone. It's sickening when you lose it in that way as well, because I shared the sentiment of both of you guys. We absolutely could have won this game, and we just felt pretty much for the entirety of the match just so comfortable. So to lose it like that, in one way, it's sickening because you feel like we could have done so much more. But on the other hand, I'm also not going to start to lose my mind 3 games into the season when you just lose a game because of a pure moment of magic from a very, very talented footballer. So, yeah, conflicted opinions. I wish we'd have gone for it a bit more. And I'm sure we're going to get into the lineup, how we set up the first half and kind of what was essentially there for the taking in the second 45 minutes. But, yeah, underwhelmed, but all hope is certainly not lost.
Yeah, I mean, if we'd have got a draw out of that, we'd be saying gritty, tetchy, 0-0, fine, take it, done, move on. What will be at least an upside that we can take from this particular result is that the media narrative isn't going to be, well, Arsenal, they just can't compete with Liverpool. No, I'm sorry. That was a Liverpool team that I think we can very much compete with. Amanda, just to come back to you on your point in terms of we should have gone from a start. I get it. But if you take from the moment of half time, then you need to say, okay, fine, that's done. We've kept them at arm's length, but now we needed to have a second half like we had the first half. Because I think if we had a second half like we had the first half, where we created a lot more chances, I would have been a lot more positive that we would have got a result, but too passive. We're going to get into that though. Team lineup, Amanda. Mikel Merino starts for Odegaard. I suspect from my point of view, it's probably more of just Odegaard wasn't fit enough to do 90 minutes. Kind of okay with it. What are the other options? You could play Waneri there, but I suspect he's 18 years old and Arteta's thinking he's an 18-year-old kid. This is going to be a really tetchy event. This is going to be a really tough game. Need that experience. Mikel Merino is a Spanish international. And I think also what Arteta wanted to go for was physicality and for us to be winning duels. And actually that kind of feels like, to me, the narrative of both first and second half, because I felt like we out-muscled them in the first half, but we didn't do enough of that in the second. So what was your perspective on that team lineup?
Well, I was a little bit surprised, but I've learnt my lesson and just wait and see. And then I thought to myself, the amount of times I've stood behind the away goal at Anfield, probably 3 or 4 in the last 15 years, I thought, that's all right. I'm happy with Marino. I'm happy with that lineup. I thought Lewis Skelly would play, but then I realised that Salah normally does a number on him. So I was okay with that. I think if you look, thinking back to, all right, I'm going to go into, I know you hate talking about, but 89, when we went up there and we nullified the first half. I think that's what people were talking about on my social media, was saying, look, this feels like 89, we're going to go for it in the second half, but we didn't. And that's the problem. And I thought Liverpool weren't that great. Their fans woke up on 71 minutes. It is such a fallacy about their atmosphere. And the only reason they woke up was because our fans started singing LA, LA, LA. And it lifted them, unfortunately. And then, Zubimendi gives away the free kick. Absolutely not going to say anything bad about Zubimendi. Thought he had a good game.
Yep.
And Carl's sitting there going, it's too far out. I went, never say that. Look at Declan Rice. Never say that. And bang. I mean, that goal was just sublime. So that's that. Look, when I was talking to Gooners last night, they're like, we win at Anfield, that's it. No, it's not it. It's flipping August. It's nothing it. Whether we win, lose or draw, it's not it. I'm disappointed. Do I think the league's over? Absolutely frigging not. And it's pathetic to even think that. But we can't.
I don't think anyone thinks the league is over, though. If you had people,
but you do talk. You do talk to people
over.
like Liverpool win this, and that's such a mind games. And I don't listen to any of it, because if this was March, maybe, but we're on August the 31st, I think. So that. But the reason I'm disappointed is because I thought we had fantastic possession first half, but possession doesn't win your games, doesn't score your goals, and I just feel, where was the balls to Gyökeres? Where Madueke had a great game. All these people that criticised him, I knew this was going to happen. I knew he's going to be a shining star. I felt, and how much I love Mikel, and I hate criticising him. Too defensive. And the second half, bring the subs on earlier. I wanted us to bring our subs on before Liverpool started. That's what I wanted, but he didn't do it. Was he going for a 0-0? Who knows? But and a draw would have been fine. It is what it is. I find it hard because I haven't had 45 minutes to calm down. I'm better at 7:15, even though you do want it to go earlier. I'm a bit more calmer because I'm still annoyed we haven't won. I'm still annoyed that it was there for the taking and Liverpool never there for the taking. So there is some positives, but we'll get to those later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's all over the place there, James. So we're going to have to pick this apart, because she's gone through the goal. She's gone through Madueke. She's talked about the lineup. She's flitted forward to the end of the game, the beginning of the game. So I'm going to bring us back. I'm going to try and row us back into some kind of semblance of organisation, because clearly Amanda's head is all over the place post-match. But actually, maybe that makes for some good podcasting. First half, mate. Control is what I would use the word. Give me a word that you would describe that first half with. And I'll be honest, when we went into half time, I thought, another one of those, please. What did you think?
If you want me to give it a word, Chris, the first one that comes to mind is solid, because it was just really compact. We looked
given the Saliba injury as well. So talk about that. as well as the.
Yeah, absolutely. So just going all the way back to the initial team lineup, I had slight concerns about that midfield that we saw, because I think the only time we played a midfield three like that was Bournemouth away last season, if you remember that game, where I think it was Saliba got sent off, and it just didn't work. It was too conservative, not exciting, no creativity in there whatsoever. But when I actually saw it was Marino kind of supporting Gyökeres, I felt a little bit more encouraged about how we were going to line up. But we just looked really, really sturdy in that first half. And you've got to give so much credit to Mosquera, who came on for Saliba. I mean, it's just our luck. I mean, we never, ever, not to use injuries as an excuse, we spent a load of money this window. We're much better equipped to deal with these situations now. But it's Anfield away where you want Saliba, you want Saka, you want Havertz, you want a fully fit Martin Odegaard. And we just didn't have that today. And again, I'm not throwing my toys out of the pram about that, but Liverpool, who are they really missing apart from Frimpong? You know, so yeah, it's a real shame in that sense. But we still had the tools out there to do a job on Liverpool, I felt. And I mean, like I say, Christian Mosquera, he came in, and even though we've lost the game, that's not a result of his performance. He was so good, so solid. We picked him up for what, 13 odd million quid. I mean, his price tag has already doubled, hasn't it? If not tripled. He looked so assured. The drop off between Saliba and him, non-existent.
Not recognisable. Well,
No.
that's not true, because Saliba is Rolls Royce. But
he is, but in terms of like defensive stability, it didn't go anywhere, did it? You know, we didn't look shaky at any points. The only moments where we did look shaky was when we were trying to play it out from the back, courtesy of some pretty poor David Raya passes. But apart from that, defence was really, really good. And it was just a shame that there were some periods in that first half where I really felt we could have attacked Liverpool, when, you know, we caught them out of possession and it slowed down so quickly. And then we'd end up playing it back to our defender. There was a moment right at the end of the half, like where we were right on them. And you just saw we were just playing for the whistle. And you're just thinking, come on, guys, like, please just try at least make an attack. So I think the game plan was very much, let's play this way up until the 60th, 70th minute, and then we'll bring our creative players into the game, which we did. But I think Amanda wants to chime in on that one.
go on.
I just wanted to talk about this passing backwards continuously. It's getting to the point now where I'm not happy seeing this every minute. They're going back and back. At one point, I thought Raya touched the ball more than any other player on the field. It's continuously back, side, back. Just sometimes go for it. They were there for the taking first half, let alone second half. So I know, like, when you're looking at different games, you look at United, we were poor. You look at Leeds, phenomenal, but it's Leeds. You're looking at Liverpool away. I don't think Liverpool were that impressive. And it was there. It was so there. But how many times are we going to go back? How many times? I don't want this control for 45 minutes. Oh, I want them to go for it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a bit old school. It's just too much control for 20 minutes. Absolutely at Anfield, it's phenomenal. But then go for it. Get them on the break. Get one up before half time, and then they've got to come at you, and we'll get another one on the break. And that was my plan. That was me as the coach.
So you can't get people on the break. So what I'm going to come back to you on this, Amanda. So probably apologies for going a little bit tactical on you here, but you can't actually hit people on the break unless they come onto you. And so that's why we play the style that we do, because what you have to do is you have to draw the opponents onto you in order to be able to then hit them in transitions. There was a moment in the first half where they hit us on transition. We won the ball and then we hit them in transition. Sadly, and I do think we should talk about this now, sadly, the ball ended up at Martinelli's feet and he just ran down a blind alley and nothing came from it. So, James, I want to talk to you about Martinelli now, because I love Martinelli. I really just want him to just be the 15 goal and 8-10 assist guy from 3 seasons ago. But that feels like the outlier at this point. And Anfield is a place where when the team lineup was announced, I thought to myself, do you know what? I could understand this, because Arteta's thinking he's got a good record there. He plays quite well. This could be a transitional game with Szoboszlai playing at right back. He could have space in behind. But I saw 3 or 4 instances in the first half. And before he was hooked for Eze in the second half, there was maybe one instance where he's either marking himself out of the game, and what I mean by that is he's standing on Szoboszlai instead of trying to pull away. He's standing on him, And Theo Walcott used to do this occasionally. You think to yourself, oh, Theo Walcott doesn't get service, but then you look back and you think, well, actually, that's because he keeps standing next to his marker, so it looks like you're being marked, but actually, you're the one that needs to show the intelligence to find space. So, James, I guess my question there is more around, give me some thoughts around Martinelli's performance today. Do you think that we've got a problem, and do you think that Martinelli's future, it probably is not going to get resolved? Like, we're not selling him within the next 24 hours, but do you think he's going to have a bit of a challenge on his hands, staking a proper claim now? Because we're now 3 games into the season, and we haven't really seen explosive pace, goal scoring, like link up play. And I'm still seeing a lot of people on social media getting frustrated with his head down, running into nowhere.
Yeah, I had a feeling the daggers would be out for Martinelli after this game. And you can tell from that instance in the first half where he got the ball in a really good position and then just ran head down into absolutely no man's land. And that's what we see from Martinelli an awful lot. If I'm going to start with the positive, I do think in the transitional moments where Liverpool were coming in our direction, he played an important role in terms of getting back, nicking the ball every now and then. Defensively, really, really good. But as we say with Martinelli all the time, if his best attribute is his defensive work rate and he's an attacker, then what's he really offering you at that in our, upper third of the pitch? So I don't think we have a problem, because I think we've got different options there now in terms of Eze, in terms of Leandro Trossard. I do think Martinelli has a place in these games, but I think you have to reverse the way in which we start in these matches. And I think I could say the same for our midfield, to be honest. I think if we're going to take the initiative and really lay it on Liverpool, you don't start Mikel Merino, Declan Rice and Zubimendi in midfield. You start one of Eze and Trossard, or Eze or Ødegaard, sorry. Or you play Ødegaard and Eze, depending on their fitness, one on the left wing, one in central midfield. And then you make that change and bring on Mikel Merino and Martinelli to see the game out. I think that's how I would have done it, because then you bring in the defensive stability a bit more when you're maybe, hopefully, 2 goals up. Okay, it's maybe a bit more risk averse, but we have to start being a bit more risk averse and laying it onto these teams, because we've got the opportunities to do it. But I worry about Martinelli because I just think he's going to get phased out of the team now with Eze coming in. I think we should all be in agreement that he starts against Nottingham Forest on that left-hand side, right? So it'll be interesting to see, because after that game, we've got Atletico Bilbao, and then we've got Man City. I think you could see Eze against Forest, Martinelli against Bilbao potentially, or Trossard against Bilbao. You don't know. And then you go back to Eze against Man City. He's still got a role, but he's not as integral as he has been in the past, because we've got players that I think can usurp him now. But I hope he gets back to some form. I really do, because he's one of my favourites.
It does feel like, to me, Amanda, I will let you jump in on Martinelli, but it does feel like to me we almost need some sort of we've got Port Vale in the League Cup. He needs some sort of a game in which, like, he plays that sort of match and bags himself a couple of goals to get some sort of confidence back, because he's just looking like a shell of a footballer at the moment. But Amanda, I want to get you some thoughts from you on Martinelli specifically, please.
Yes, I just want to go back to something, because you didn't let me come back to you. That transition and what you were saying tactically, of course, we know that. However, if that's not happening, Chris, then they've got to change it, because obviously Liverpool knew that's what we wanted to play like, and they didn't play like that. They sort of blocked every channel everywhere. So we've got to change. Can't play like that for 45 minutes. I'm sorry. If it's not working, you've got to change it. Anyway, moving on to Martinelli, I totally agree. Listen, his head was down. There were so many times he should have passed the ball. However, his defensive work is great. He's always back there. He's always there, but it's not enough. And I think his confidence is low and knocked. So if you're going to drop him, it's going to get even worse. However, we can't worry about that. We need to bring Eze on. Forest is, it's not going to be like it was today. I mean, I watched Forest West Ham. They can be beaten, of course. Don't know. It's hard, isn't it? Because Martinelli's been with us so long and promised so much, but since his injury and coming back from it, he's never been the same. And
so can I ask you a question, Amanda? Would you play him against Nottingham Forest?
No.
Would you play him against Bilbao?
Yes.
Or Trossard instead?
Either or. But I think Eze
If I
needs
forced you
game.
to pick one, if I forced you to pick a player for Nottingham Forest on that left, who would it be? Is it Eze, yeah?
Eze, yeah.
And
Eze.
then if I forced you to pick a player for Bilbao, who would it be?
How many days later is it? Is it like next 3-4 days
Yeah,
later?
it's like a Saturday and then a Wednesday, I think.
Right. So maybe start Martinelli and have Trossard on the bench. That's
Do you know what's
probably what I would
interesting?
do.
Because Martinelli's form is such at the moment, and there's a reason why all of us on social media as fans, there's a reason why we're all talking about it, because it's not been great. He didn't have a very good pre-season. I don't know about you guys, but when Trossard came on against Leeds, he looked all right. Like part of me is a bit like
the thing I'd say about Martinelli is I think we've kind of got a bit fixated on the idea of a player that isn't actually the player Martinelli is. Like, I'm not making a great deal of sense there, but we all think he's this guy that, let's take today's example against Szoboszlai. We all think, there's going to be loads of space there for him to exploit. Martinelli hasn't been a player that runs into space for absolutely ages. I can't remember the last time he was bombing on down that left-hand side and someone like Gabriel put the ball over the top for him to latch onto. Look at Madueke today. How many times did that ball go over the top and he was on it? Happened loads and loads of times. He was brilliant today, Madueke. Martinelli on the other side gets the ball into feet, drives forward, then doesn't do anything. Two very different winger performances there. And I don't think Martinelli is that player that runs into space. He could be playing against, a 45-year-old Jose Bosingua at this point, and I still wouldn't trust him to run into space behind him and exploit it. I just don't think he's that player. But someone in the comments made the point that he's more of a centre forward, and I'd be interested to see in these games, potentially against someone like Port Vale or Bilbao, play him as the centre forward, give Gyökeres a rest and play, I don't know if you want to, Eze, Martinelli, Madueke. Like, that's a still very exciting, pacey front three. If he's going to make those runs in behind, that's where he needs to be. He's a clinical player. Just look at those early goals he got for us. They all came down the middle when he was in his first season in the 1920 season. And he's been shoved out to the left wing, and it's changed his game a lot. He looks really good in 2022-23, but since then,
The injury.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of the injury, but I think there's more to it than that. I just don't think he's quite got that instinctive quality that made him so good. It's just always seems to be head down, run to the byline, and just nothing happens at the end. He's a very predictable player for me.
I think, don't you remember Cook's Fulham away last year with his foot offside? You should have been alert to that. We would have won that game. I just think that maybe time's come. Maybe it has come. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be sold in this window, but I'm sorry, we have to be a bit more ruthless now. If we want to win anything this season, that left side needs, as someone said in the comments, needs to be looked at and worked better. Today, unfortunately, too many times with Martinelli, I'm afraid. And that's not all of us picking on him. It's just fact.
Yeah. I want to talk about Liverpool. Let's just do a couple of minutes about Liverpool here and your thoughts on Liverpool. And I'll go first and then Amanda, just some thoughts on it. But so I used SofaScore as an app, and Liverpool have got SofaScore's got Liverpool. Alisson down as 7.5. Konate down as a 7.1. Van Dijk down as a 7.9. Kirkes down as a 7.8. Gakpo's a 7. Wirtz as a 7.2. Conversely, if you look at us, they've got Zubimendi down as a 6.3. Gyökeres as a 6.4, Timber as a 6.4, Gabriel as a 6. Isn't it interesting how basically one goal has shifted the entire narrative around how Liverpool played? Because frankly, what I saw today was a Liverpool side that I thought, do you know what? I'm kind of okay with how they are, because if that's Liverpool with one injury, which was their right back Frimpong, the rest of their team was fully fit, and we had 6 or 7 injuries out today, and including Saliba as well. I've seen 4 games of Liverpool so far. I thought Palace were very good at them in the Community Shield. I thought they got away with it against Bournemouth. I thought they got away with it against Newcastle. They were very poor. And I thought, they had one moment of magic aside, they had very little efforts, and they had very little to show for themselves. So if anything, I'm going to take some positives from an Arsenal fan perspective. Like, this Liverpool team aren't as all-conquering as the media are portraying them as, and they are definitely gettable. And so I'm going to take some positives from that. This was an Arsenal team that went too conservative. We can all accept that. But it's an Arsenal team that I think can get at them. They're going to drop points.
But as Andy said, Isaac, I've said from day one he's going to be there. Thank God he wasn't there just before today, but then again, we lost anyway. He's going to be there from tomorrow night, Chris. That is going to
Can I
make.
tell you that, Amanda? I'm just going to jump in over that. Isak is not where their challenges lie. Their challenges lie in their midfield, which can be run through, and Newcastle have shown that, and I think Bournemouth have shown that, and their back line. Van Dijk is a year older, and he's starting to look it. In my opinion, we didn't do enough today, and Gyökeres. I mean, we can talk about Gyökeres actually, but I actually think that it's actually at the back, which I'm really surprised. I mean, they'll get Gahey, but I still think that midfield of Liverpool's needs some looking at. So I'm taking the positives from that. I'm not sure that this Liverpool side defensively are going to be that amazing. And I tell you what, when they come to the Emirates, they won't. I don't think they've got Salah because it's African Cup of Nations, isn't it? So that'll be an interesting
Salah
one.
wasn't anything today anyway. I
I
knew
didn't see
that.
anything from him.
No, I didn't rate him at all. Little bit unfair on Timber with those points that were calling out, and Zubimendi. However, I do feel the Liverpool defence were good, and I do feel that sevens were about right.
Do you think Kirkes deserves a 7.8?
No, sorry, not. I was just about to say about Kirkes. No, he was the one that I didn't because of
He got a run through, right?
Yeah. I would have put him at like 5.5 or something. But one of our listeners is just WhatsApp me, and coming back from the game, he was there, and we haven't even mentioned this. And this is what I mentioned: we so miss Saka. We have Saka in that game. I think we would have won it. I think he would have been all over him, and also they're mentioning that Gyökeres needs to get a bit more tougher as well, and that will come. That will come. He's just bedding himself in, which is why I hark back to the penalty and why it was important he took it and not Max Dowman. But I'm diverting again. But anyway, go on, James.
Yeah, I think just touching on your point, Chris, about Liverpool, my main concern with them would be they've got through 3 games now before the end of the transfer window, right? They've not looked good for a lot of those games, to be honest, but they've scored a lot of goals. Okay, they've conceded a fair few as well, but they've got 9 points out of 9, and we're talking about them not looking great. Now, that luck won't go on for the course of the season, obviously. They're not going to keep winning games in the 90th minute like they did against Bournemouth, like they did against Newcastle. However, the caveat to that for me would be if they do sign Gahey and Isaac, those are 2 quite transformative signings that if they came into their team, I think they'd be a lot stronger for it, particularly defensively. And then if they settle down, and then someone like Wirtz, who's done nothing for them so far, I'm not saying he was terrible today. The jury's still out on him, but I think he will come good at some point. At least the expectation is that he will come good at some point. If he clicks, and then they sign Isaac, they sign Gahey, they've already signed a fair few decent players. I mean, I still think they're a big force. Like, I think they'll be very hard to usurp.
Yes, but I also think, just to counter that, because I'm trying to be positive now on a day in which, let's be honest, I feel quite down because we've lost a football match. I see an Arsenal team that have gone to Anfield and have basically said, we're going to be difficult to break down. We've had times where we've just been run through. They didn't do that. So we can go to those big away grounds. And the next step that Arteta needs to make is that he needs to be able to, and this is what Amanda said earlier, he needs to be able to go for it. That's the next evolution, because we can do the whole, we're difficult to break down. We're going to control this match. We've got physicality, but his next evolution, which we didn't get again today. And I fucking hate that. I just really hate the whole narratives around, oh, we never win. I don't want to be talking about 13 years. No, we're now going to be talking about 14 years this time next year when we play Liverpool. 14 years without winning there. Man United's been a weird one over the years because we've had a terrible record, but they've been shit for so many of those years. Liverpool have been good for most of that 14 years. It just winds me up. I get frustrated. There are over 1,000 of you in the chat. Please like, subscribe, do all of the bell notification things. I think I've ticked that box off, Amanda. Look, Amanda's given me a thumbs up because Jane do that, and she's the only one that does. But please feel free to subscribe to us. We really do appreciate it. We've got 1,000 of you tuning in. hopefully getting a little bit of catharsis as well. Amanda, do we want to talk about... I mean, we sort of talked about the goal, really. I don't really have any more comments to say about it because it's just like, that's your fine margins. That's the goal that they got. We need to take we almost need to take our licks here, don't we? And then just move on, right?
Yes, there's nothing to talk about. It was a free kick. You can't blame Raya at all. Hits the post and goes in. What you've got to, sometimes in life, as much as you may all hate Liverpool, and we all do, you have to just go, what a free kick that was. Where you would hope other football fans would have said that about Declan Rice against Madrid. You know, you just would have hoped to see that you can just go, well done. That's that. That's the fine margin. You know, if we'd have got a free kick from out there, maybe we would have had that chance, but we didn't. I would like to just come on to something else. Do you think we deserve to lose on what you saw today, Chris? Do you
No,
think we deserve to lose, a draw,
no.
or win it?
I don't think either team deserved to win. I don't think either team deserved to lose. This should have been a classic, boring 0-0. And if it was, the three of us would be talking and saying, wasn't great fun, got the point, Anfield's tough. I know it's 13 years. Next year it'll be 14 years. We go again. Fine, move on. Like, this was, yeah.
So I just want to bring up a point that I've starred because I saw this as well. Did you see Schmeichel's gaslighting crap? I don't want to insult Arsenal, but their brand of football is so annoying to watch. It's designed to exploit opponents while waiting for set pieces. And then there was something else he said, which Phil has said. You need two teams to give a good game of football, and there is only one team trying to play football, and that's Liverpool. I mean, was he watching the same game? Because what were Liverpool actually doing?
Peter Schmeichel is from an era in which there was a massive Arsenal versus Man United rivalry.
Yep.
He has an inherent dislike, therefore, for Arsenal. His views are also like, I don't see Peter Schmeichel in mainstream media because his views are frankly bang average. So I actually take what he says. I don't even take it with a pinch of salt. There is no salt. It's just Peter Schmeichel is an irrelevance. So move on from that one. James, the goal. Do you want to talk about the goal at all, or should we move on to general sort of what happens next? Where are we at for where Arsenal are at?
Yeah, I mean, all I can say about the goal is it's a brilliant free kick. And, you know, if the tables were turned and it was us that had that moment, we'd all be absolutely buzzing. So you can't take anything away from Szoboszlai, who I think is a fantastic player, did really well playing out of position at right back, scores a brilliant free kick. All the credit to him. Could Zubimendi have done a bit better? I mean, he loses Curtis Jones, gives away the foul, but I mean, the catch-22 there is he lets him run through and they potentially score anyway. So it's a tricky one. But yeah, that's the deciding moment in the game. But we, like we spoke about before, we could have done better in key moments. We had a lot of transitions which went our way, and we just weren't decisive enough in the final third. We have to be absolutely braver. I don't know if it's worth talking about Gyökeres because I think there were...
Yeah, let's do that. Go on.
No, I just think there were a lot of parallels today between this game and the one at United, where he just wasn't really in it at all. And I'd be interested to know from either of you if that's a bit of a concern.
So I'll give a view and then I want to get a view from Amanda, because I actually think these sort of games are always so tight that you could say the same thing about Ekitike today. Like, Ekitike scored a couple of goals and everyone's raving about him. Didn't see anything from Ekitike today. Salah, you know, this world-class footballer who's been brilliant and scored a ridiculous number of goals and assists last season, didn't see anything from him today. These games are always, like, between title rivals, are always really, really tight and decided on, like, weird stuff, like a mistake or a moment of magic. And quite often over the years, you watch the Man City's, Liverpool's, the Arsenal's, Man United, it's often like two defences. When you've got two good defences up against each other, the strikers don't often get a lot of service. And I think that's basically what's happened today. I think the Man United game, Amanda, I don't know what you think about this, but I think the Man United game was just, we were poor. We all acknowledged we were poor. And I think Gyökeres just didn't have any service. He makes the runs. He was making runs today, but didn't really have any service. Like, it's not like the ball came to him. It's not like we really dominated possession and the ball came to him in positions where he's striking and he's doing like a Diego. Do you remember what his name? Diego Forlan back in the day for Man United, who couldn't hit a barn door, and he'd had chance after chance after chance. Gyökeres just didn't even have those chances, but neither did Salah. Neither did Ekitike. The only player out of the attacking players on all two sides, so there's 6 attackers on either side. The only player that I think showed something today was Madueke. So that's the real positive I'm taking from it. I really liked Madueke's performance, and it gives me hope. We're losing Saka for 2-3 weeks. Madueke absolutely fine to step in, but also what it makes me think is you've got Eze on the left, but Madueke's option as well. Amanda?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not worried, James, about Gyökeres at all. I'm really not. He's come from a different league. It's going to take time. He's, people worried about Thierry Henry and Robert Perez and God knows who else. Bergkamp, Ian Wright hit the ground running, but some players take time. He didn't have any service anyway. It's not as though he's missed anything. It's just going to take time. And I think they're all going to be annoyed with themselves because it was there for the taking. Sometimes in life, I often believe this, the ball's got to fall for you. You've got to have a little bit of luck. That free kick was phenomenal, but it hit the post and went in. It could have hit the post and come out. It was their day. It's such a fine line. I think I predicted a 2-2 draw and I wasn't changing my mind on that all week. Even when everyone kept going, their defence is so bad. I thought, no, it's Liverpool. It's just our bogey side, 2012, blah, blah, blah. I'm disappointed because it was there for the taking. I think if Liverpool were all over us and bashing us the whole game and missed chance after chance after chance, I'd be thinking, well, 1-0. It was a bit of a result getting out with 1-0, but it wasn't. And that's why I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed necessarily Gyökeres not scoring, or I don't think Rice had one of his best games. I just don't think it was set up. And, how many times are we going to sit there and get another injury? I thought Timber was down with an injury and I thought, that's it, I'm done. I can't be doing this anymore. And I mean, luckily for us, we're not having to talk about VAR. We're not having to talk about controversial things, because honestly, what we saw with Fulham yesterday, the whole world is up in arms about it. They've had an apology. Great. Doesn't help though, does it? Doesn't help at all. And thank God we're not talking about that. It was just our inability to push forward, push on and get the goal. And hopefully we'll learn from it. And thank God it's not March or April. Thank God it's the end of August.
Well, this is exactly it. Like, if you're going to lose a game to a title rival, I'm hoping that we are talking about the fact that Arsenal are title rivals in March and April. We don't know what's going to happen. If you're going to lose a game where, and Arteta, I think, has said this in some of I'm just looking on my social medias. He said, there are 2 ways to win or lose a match: an individual error or a moment of magic. Unfortunately, today they had their moment of magic. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about a moment of magic. We can talk about injuries. We can talk about the way Liverpool are playing. We weren't great against Man United, but we won. We were great against Leeds and we won. And we were fine today. It wasn't like we were amazing, but we weren't crap like we were against Man United. No, we played our title rivals and we were fine. James, I saw something on social media which I agree with, actually, which was a couple of days ago. Somebody saying, "Oh, people are saying how Gyökeres is going back to your original point. Gyökeres is a flat track bully. He only scores against the shit teams." We had 14 or 15 draws last season, and a lot of it was against teams from mid-table and below. If Gyökeres is the guy that's going to be a flat track bully and turn some of those draws into wins, we're going to be fighting for the title. So I'm kind of okay with it. So, what do you want to do a final thought before Gyökeres, and then Amanda, maybe we do some questions or something?
And also, I've got Mikel Arteta's thoughts as
Go
well.
on,
I can read them out.
Go on,
Do you want to go first, James, or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you, Chris. If he can just do exactly what he did against Leeds, but on repeat, Gyökeres is going to be absolutely fine for us. And touchwood, we get Havertz back in a relatively decent time frame. If he can be back by November, touchwoods, then we should be in a good position, and we'll have Gabriel Jesus back. And we've already got decent options up top, but to have even more, especially in games like today, I think I would have liked Havertz to have started in a game like this today. I think he'd have been absolutely perfect for it. But he's got a lot to offer us. And I mean, we've got a game coming up against Nottingham Forest where I think he's going to have opportunities to score again. They conceded 3 to West Ham today. They're not exactly perfect by any means. And then the week after that, okay, it's a tough one on paper against Man City, but they just lost to Brighton today and they conceded a hell of a lot of chances. So I think he could, in a couple of weeks' time, in mid-September, have a very decent goals tally. So, yeah, excited about what he's going to bring. And I don't think he was bad today, by the way. I think he, pinned players down, held his own against Canate, made some very good runs that just weren't picked out at all, similarly to how it was against Man United. So, yeah, there's nothing really to worry about on that side from me.
Yeah, so Amanda, I want to get you to just read through some of the Arteta stuff, and then we'll go into questions. But for me personally, just to wrap up, Calafiori, good game, kept Salah quiet. I thought Zubimendi had a good game. Like that foul aside, he played really, really well. He wins the ball. It's good. I thought Gyökeres was making moves, but it's fine. He didn't get service. Madueke, very, very positive. Martinelli, less so. But Amanda, do you want to talk about what Arteta said?
Yes, and I just want to say about Schmeichel has now said, I've never in my life ever wanted a team to win a game of football more than Liverpool today. Arsenal bring an ugly brand of football to our game. I can tell you now, if I was a Man United fan, if an ex-Arsenal goalkeeper said that about Tottenham, I'd be absolutely fuming. I feel like he's losing the plot. I don't understand anything he's saying. But anyway, I'm just mentioning that.
Irrelevant, Amanda. He's an
I know, but it's wound me up, and I can't believe an ex-United footballer, goalkeeper, is saying that about Liverpool. Anyway, it's embarrassing for him. Mikel Arteta, there are two ways to win or lose this match. One is an individual error. It didn't happen. The other is a magic moment. Unfortunately, it happened for Liverpool. And it's interesting what he just says. My game plan was with the intention to win the game. He's actually come out and say that because obviously people are now questioning the defensive midfield. And his last comment was, very proud of my players. There were no margins between the two, and it was going to be decided by an individual error or a magic moment. Thanks to Carl for all those, because obviously we're not watching. It's true, isn't it? It's an individual error or a wonderful moment. And thank God, really, if we're going to lose it, it was a wonderful moment, and not something that Timber did or Gabriel or Mosquera, because that wouldn't have gone down well. But
Mosquera was brilliant, by the way.
Yeah,
generally, really
most of our players were okay. Chris, why don't you pick some questions out? Because I've starred loads. Prick out whatever you want to.
Okay. Let's start as I think somebody just said Madueke was player of the match for me. I don't think we need to. That's not a particular question today. We need to just move on from that one.
Sorry, I'm coming off that. Yep, you do it.
Yeah. Should Van der Vaart have seen a red today? He elbowed Zubi in the back of the head with Rail. I don't think so. I don't think there was anything there from that. James, what about you?
No, not really, to be honest with you.
Amanda?
I didn't see it until someone put a photo on, and you can't really tell from a photo, so I will go with no.
Yeah, me neither. How about Phil saying, can we talk about Rice's corners on Saka's side? This is really interesting because Sky were putting up the graphics of in-swingers versus out-swingers, and it shows you how both missing Saka and Ødegaard as naturally left-footed players, we weren't prepared to find another left-footed player. And if you think, who are our left-footed players? Marino, you want him in the box to actually be on the end of things. I do think that we are deadly from the in-swinging corner side, and by having nobody with that natural left foot, it was just unfortunate today. James, what did you make of that? Because Sky obviously made a bit of a deal with it, but I think there is something in that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We look so much more dangerous on the in-swingers. Like when there's serious pace on that ball, heading just over the top of the goalkeeper, that's when we're at our most dangerous in those situations. So yeah, it was a shame. None of them really came off for us today. You have to say, I know you think Van Dijk's a little bit over the hill. I thought he was brilliant today, to be honest with you. I thought he was really, really good. I still think he's got mileage left in the tank, at least for this season. I think he'll be fine.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you think for 50 odd games though?
I mean, look, remains to be seen. We're still very early on in the season. This is why I say signing someone like Gay is transformative for them, because it gives them that opportunity to rest someone like Van Dijk every now and then. I still think he looks impeccable. So I don't know, Chris. Let's see how the season plays out. But I think the saving grace is our squad. Even with the injuries we had, I think I look at our bench today, I'm like, we have much better options than Liverpool do to change the game potentially. I just wish some of those players we had on the bench had started the match. Otherwise, we could be talking about a very different result. But I think that longevity, hopefully, with the players we've got and the players that we still have to come back, will serve us well throughout the course of the season, because we can rotate a lot more than you would think they would be able to. I still think they're going to drop points. I'm fairly confident of that. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to playing them at home, because the impetus on us, because if we play like that at the Emirates, which I think we all know we
It would
won't
never
do.
happen, would it?
Yeah, it won't happen, and fans would be furious if we did play like that. So when the onus is on us to go and attack them, I think we could really open them up. So yeah, looking forward to January and playing them again.
Yeah, 100%. Amanda, I'm going to ask you a question because James kind of touched on it, and it's your husband downstairs that has asked it. Did Arteta wait too long before making attacking changes? And he thinks you've probably already had this conversation, but
We have, yes.
for the benefits of people who weren't in your lounge at the time, could you give your thoughts?
Yes, I'd already spoken on Twitter Cole's not on Twitter anymore, about Max Dowman coming on. I said, look, could it be a good idea? Not that Madawaki's had a bad game or anything, but could he give something else, bit of trickiness? Could have got us into the penalty area and got the ball across, and someone could have, put it home. It didn't work out to be that. He did come on, but it didn't work out to be that good, did it? And also, to be fair on him, we're 1-0 down. Maybe it wasn't the right thing to do. But he should have brought I was screaming for Eze straight at 45 minutes. And I know people don't agree with that because you've got to give 10 minutes and see how it goes. But I wanted to go for it. The reason I wanted to go for it, Chris, is because I thought it was there for the taking. So he did wait too long. And as I said at the very beginning, I wanted to bring our subs on before they started bringing theirs on. But it wasn't to be. So yeah, I agree with you. He waited too long. Yeah,
I agree with you, Amanda. And I was putting on social media, like Martinelli. I think I put it at half time. It's like Martinelli surely is in that dressing room now, and Arteta's saying you got 10 minutes, and then you're being hooked, because I'm not going to hook you at half time, because that really suggests you've had an absolute fucking stinker. But you've got 10 minutes to show me, and he didn't show us in. Well, I think he had like 20 minutes, because I think Eze came on about 70 minutes.
I mean, do you think, Chris, that he was going for the 0-0, or was he going for a 0-0
I think
until we got one?
Going back to your original point was, I think it was keep it tight to about 60, 65 minutes, and then I'm going to make some changes, and we're going to control the game and finish it. And actually, if you think about the narrative of the game, because Liverpool, what ended up happening was Liverpool got their goal on like 81 minutes or whatever it was, and they basically just they camped in their own half, which is exactly what we would do if we went 1-0 up. It would be camp in our own half. So I'm no problems with them for that. But the game state changed when they scored their magic moment goal. If that goal doesn't happen, I think it's more likely we go on and win the game, because Arteta's making the changes, the attacking impotence is on us, and if Liverpool haven't scored that wonder goal, I think we go on and win it. But that's game state. They could then tuck in into their shape, and we found it difficult from there. Another question, which is from Karen. I think we'll do a fight that we'll do this as the final one, I think, because John wrote, thank you very much, mate, but I just think at this point, with if we bring one more player in, I mean, we're bringing in Hincapi, and I think we've had enough now, haven't we? We've signed
never enough, although so it is a lot.
Let's pause that, James. Why are we getting all of these injuries? I will put my comment into the ring, which is basically we're cursed.
Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, we get through pre-season unscathed. Season rolls round. Havertz injury on the first day, Saka injury on the second day, not to mention all the other ones we've got. It's
Saliba injury on the third day.
Yeah, it just seems to be a routine thing for us, which is horrible to say. But again, going back to something I said earlier, it's just infuriating that we go into these games and we don't have our best players available. Like, do you remember when we played City at home a couple of years ago? And I can't remember who it was.
I think it was like Thomas Partey, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Jorginho came in. It's just like, why? Why does this have to happen to us in the crucial games all the time? Whereas Liverpool can field basically everyone apart from Frimpong.
Yeah,
it's just not. I don't want to say it's not fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair, is it? Like, just give us a chance, for God's sake.
Yeah. It would just be nice, wouldn't it, just to have a game without an injury? It's ridiculous now. I mean, to have so many, and I read that before about Saliba walking, and thank God all of them, like Odegaard's back, Havertz is a couple of months by the looks of it, Saka's hopefully not as couple of months. Just give us a break up there, for God's sake. I'm not wishing any injuries on any other team, so just give us a break. It's ridiculous. I just don't get it. I mean, but
Yeah.
apparently, and I've seen a picture from before the game when they were warming up that Saliba got a knock then. I don't
He
know if
did it
that's
in
true.
there. That's what
Right.
Tom Canton had said. He picked up a knock, and I think Arteta might have even said he picked up a knock in the actual warm up. But Amanda, is there any final bits that you want to pick up on before we disappear off today? We've actually managed to do 49 minutes,
I
even though,
know.
as I said at the beginning of the pod, I've messaged, I've WhatsApped the guys already and said, let's keep it to 30 minutes. I don't want to do this. But Amanda, any kind of final thoughts you want to bring before we rock off for today?
No, but we just need to do our predictions for Nottingham Forest. Okay.
Do we
We
have
need to. Yes, we do.
2-0 Arsenal.
Okay, hold on, Chris.
Just one last thing, guys, before we go off.
Go on,
Max Baumann coming on again at Anfield away.
Yeah.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was quiet. But you would expect that from a 15-year-old against essentially one of the best teams in the league, or the current champions. But yeah, it was positive. But yeah, Arteta clearly has a lot of faith in him. What's your prediction, James, so that Amanda can write it in her little book?
Okay. I'll wrap it up there. My prediction for Forest, I think we're going to come back with a bang. I'm going to go 4-0 Arsenal.
Oh, I love it, mate.
And I've gone 3-1. Okay. So I will WhatsApp those predictions to you because, as you know, I'm not here for that game. I'm away. I'll be
Neither am
watching
I.
it.
It's just James on his own.
I am there. Hooray.
James will be running the podcast. If anyone fancies coming on and keeping James company, please email sameoldarsenal@gmail.com. Or, which I was going to mention, we're everywhere on social media. It'd be really fantastic if you followed us. TikTok we do the most amazing content on there. It's not run by either three of us. So the content's brilliant if you want to go and check out Same Old Arsenal on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X, Blue Sky. We're not on Threads, but we're everywhere else. So come and follow us because there's nearly 1,200 of you. Just over 1,100 of you in the chat room. Please press like, please press subscribe. You know, we're not screamy, shouty like a lot of people, but we just come on with our honest views and opinions. We're going to have some other guests on during the season as well. James will be back with the Nottingham Forest pod because it looks like me and Chris are away. I'm back, thank God, for the City game, and I think we'll beat them as well. God, City are losing again today. But thank you all for joining us. It's not been easy. I'm still disappointed. I'll have to get over it. And that's it, boys. Have a great couple of weeks, everyone. Here's to beating Nottingham Forest because I get told off for saying Notts Forest. Here's to beating Nottingham Forest, getting back to our winning ways. And thank you for joining us. Always Arsenal. Good night, everyone.